into our 5 special guests, I would like to shout out our 2 sponsors. The first sponsor is the MMC Insurance Company, located on Trent Road, owned by Travis Wayne. And our newest sponsor, Toyota of New Bern, Augie Palooka, best salesman in Eastern North Carolina. If you want a brand new car, go check out our new sponsor at Toyota. Now, to get into our special guests, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, because if I do it, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking. So, whoever wants to start, we can start here and go all the way around.
Right? I'm Dave Simpson. Call me Big Dave. I was here at Stanley White Rec Center from 1982 to 1992. Currently now not living in New Bern, but here back to do this podcast.
Reginald Pender, worked here for 30 years, born and raised in the community.
Charles Pickett, retired postal worker, also retired public rec. I have worked at the Recreation Center here since 1966 and retired in 2014.
I'm Bernard George. I live here. This is my neighborhood. I was moved here about 68 years ago. When I was 2 years old, I've seen this area transform from a pasture, a glazing land for animals, a swamp, to what it is today. At one point, when I was a teenager, they used it as a landfill to build a property up. We see the problem that we're having today is because they didn't build it up high enough. This is the floodplain and the issues that they've had with Stanley White. We'll probably talk about a little later. But this is a transformative situation here. They say we're at a crisis, and this is what a crisis is. It provides opportunities. I'm glad to be here with these young men, and they were seeking opportunities to better our community and to move it forward. This might be a setback, but again, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to come together with a vision for the future and to make sure that our city government, when it does build a recreation center again, that it remembers all the history that's involved with this facility here, and that it's built for prosperity and not just on a shoestring budget like they did for Stanley White when it was first built.
Yes, my name is Marvin Sparrow, known as Mello. I worked with the staff at Stanley White 7 years, from 1977 to 1982. I remember this whole area, as Mr. George has stated, when you were all get the green area. And once I, many days, walked up here from Cedar Street Recreation Center with Stanley White, when he used to come out here many days, and he had told me that there would be a gym built on this property, which happening maybe 20 years after we made that statement.
All right, so now yes sir, it's all right. It's all right. Yes sir, yes sir. So now I want to get started. Y'all said 67 years ago. I wasn't thought of. I wasn't born. So tell God, somebody. So tell me what was it like at the start of Stanley White Recreational Center? What was the start? What was it like? What was the foundation? What was the planning of it?
I think the foundation came from Cedar Street. That's where it started.
That's right.
But as a kid, that's where I played.
Well, that's what I started
And
with.
Stanley, he was a no-nonsense person, but he was good as good. You know, he didn't take it. He didn't care who your parents were or what. If you're going to be at the center, you're going to be act like you had some sense. With me, at Pickett, I was there every day, all day, trying to do something to help him. Sweeping the floor, keeping score or whatever, like a bunch of us was trying to do. And we called him Chief, and that's basically what he was. Beside him and Miss Pearlie Mae, they kept everything going with what little we had back then. And they kept us out of trouble, kept us going. And like I said, that's where it all started. Cedar Street, which is a mega center now.
Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Now I get okay. Yes, sir. The mega center.
Mega center now.
Yes, sir. So, a lot of amazing things have happened here at Stanley White. Can y'all tell me something? Give me the rundown or something. I know, I told y'all before, I was here when Helicopter came. I know that's the N1 player. He came and played basketball here, and it was kind of like a big thing for all of us to come to the gym and see him here. But I know it's been so many more amazing people and events that happen. So can y'all give me the rundown on something?
I take it from there. As Mr. Child Pickett has mentioned, we came from the Cedar Street Recreation Center. And we come into this building with the idea of building Stanley White's name to as the person that he was, a great person. We had many programs for the kids because it wasn't anything for the kids to do. From Cedar Street Recreation Center, wintertime you freeze all winter. Summertime you'll burn up all summer. So when we got this building, then it was a great thing. Now we got air conditioning and heat. So we started many programs. We went out in the streets. We got the kids, we brought them in. And from 5, 7 years, we created a lot of state championship teams, representing New Bern from Stanley White Recreation Center, which we had junior league, midget league, senior league, adult league, all that involved with men's and female program for the sports.
Stanley White here was like for most of the kids out here, it was like a safe haven. You'll be surprised how many kids they come there and enjoy themselves. A lot of times they come there and spend all day. Most time they don't even want to leave. Sometimes they act the county sometimes to get them out of the gym and close down. They really enjoy themselves.
And had to literally cut the lights out on.
Yes, sir. 'Cause they want to stay here so
To get back and all that, if we were late opening the gym in the morning, they'll be piled up. Somebody will come to your house.
Knocking the door.
That's how
Freak
man.
me. Call
Oh,
somebody.
man.
Get up and get somebody
Get
over the
somebody out here to open. That was the start. These kids had the opportunity to experience things that they never had. And we used to take little trips when we was at Cedar Street, and Kelston, Goldsboro, playing little tournaments. But this opened up opportunities where these kids had a chance to travel, to see a lot of other places, and, to get into Florida. We've been for as Florida, Atlanta, all over the state of North Carolina, Virginia, and these kids never had that type of opportunity before, and they was into that, and we had a good group of volunteers. Okay, you can't do anything without volunteers. The city, we raised money, under the city limit, for the general fund. So what we did, we formed our own booster club. We got all our 501c, everything. We raised money. We bought uniforms. We paid for travel. Our teams, if you don't remember, I don't know if they still have it. We played when the Carolina Panthers first came to North Carolina. They used to have what they call a Super Bowl, where they did halftime. Our team, we had a tough little football team there. We had to play a team for Charlotte that played my son, which is now, he's 33 now, he was on that team. We went.
So was my son.
Right, your son, both of them, matter of fact, and they was a hell of a player. And we went to Charlotte. Those people from Charlotte thought they was gonna just, walk all over them, but we had some teams back there. Like you said, his son was one of the hardest hitters I ever seen. But we beat the team from Charlotte. We went in the next week. We went back, and during halftime of that game, they put us there, and I still remember the team that we played. It was called the Capital Steelers from Raleigh, doing that halftime show. And each player got a video from that halftime show, and I believe I was more excited than the kids were, being in front of all those people. But those are type opportunities that them kids got to, to do.
recreation started in this city after the Civil War.
Can you give me around what years then?
Yes. Civil War ended in 1865, and because we had a black regiment, one of the very first black regiments in the South, raised right here in New Bern, the veterans, after the Civil War, they got together and created the Grand Lodge. It was named after the commander of the 1st North Carolina Colored Volunteers, Colonel Beecher. He was the brother of Harriet Beecher Stowe. She also came here. We remember Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. And that book was an important book for, you know, to help initiate the Civil War. Pick people's conscience about the cruelties of slavery. But anyway, though, after the veterans came back to New Bern, they built a building there on Commerce Street, right off of Broad Street. And that building was the Grand Lodge of the Republic. This was a Civil War veterans group, and they were all over the country. And we had a black unit here. They built that building, and it was used as a community center for we black people. And that building stayed there for about the 1880s and the 90s until about 1940. They began clearing that area for building Freeman Terrace. Makes sense? So when they built, it was demolished, and black men like you, who represented black families, pulled together. It was called the New Bern Improvement Association. And they pooled their money together, nickels, dimes, quarters, and bought the property over on Cedar Street, the site of Cedar Street Recreation Center. They bought that property so that the high school basketball team would have a place to play. They played outside. They played their games outside. And so the recreation center was built, black people built it, brick by brick, until they had everything petition the city. The city said, give us the building, we'll put a roof on it. And that's how we got Cedar Street. That was around 1954, during that time. And that's also the time that Stanley White came back to New Bern. Stanley White was born in the 1930s. He was an A1 athlete, like you guys, and also a scholar. He went to Hampton University on a football scholarship, played football and basketball, and had a scholastic scholarship too. When he graduated from Hampton Institute at that time, about 1953, he came back to New Bern. He spent some time in the military, about a year or two. It was during the Korean conflict, and he came back to New Bern. By that time, Cedar Street was up and running, and he was made the athletic director and began working with Miss Curley. So that's the story of how we got Cedar Street. Cedar Street is a legacy of the black community coming together. Because we built Cedar Street because the whites on the other side of town, they had already had their recreation center. They had recreation centers, they had swimming areas. They had, we all remember George Street. That was really built in the 30s or the 40s for white people. So we came together and got Cedar Street. And that's the end of that little story.
So Bernard, so that's
Yes,
where we
sir.
come from with the black gym and the white gym. You know, because you know people won't say Stanley White gym. They're gonna say they tearing down the black gym.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
exactly right.
So that's what that whole story is.
Yeah, let me pull in that little piece. That's an important point you made. In the 1970s, this property here was given to the city by, I think her name was Marvin Sparrow. One of your people's names.
Yeah, Miss Chapman across the street.
Yeah. And she deeded this property to the city for future restoration. During the 70s, opportunity came, Mr. Willie Vales, who was a civil rights leader during that time, and others, we got a grant from the federal government to build a recreation center. And that's how we got 2 recreation centers. The city said we need to build 2. We need to build one in another neighborhood, which was the White Gym, and one over here. Federal government agreed, and it said that both would be identical. But we got extra funds, and because we're in a low-income area, and we got additional funding for 6th Street. We had a bit more than they had, but you see now, that all has been surpassed with what we feel is systemic racism. They made sure that those funds will cross town. And then the money that it took to prepare this land, we wouldn't be at this point today if a sufficient field would have been brought in here to raise this property up. We've been having a community festival for 20 years called the Duffy Field Unity Family Festival out here. And most of the time it ends up being a mud bath. Rain comes, we've had baseball games, tremendous baseball games, football games, etc. The reason that they say they had to tear down the center was because this land here is so poor because of the landfill. They didn't do it properly. And that it's been soaking water up and it swells in the ground and expands and cracks. It has cracked the foundation. And they say because of the foundation, they can't raise the building.
Also, before they started building, they changed the type roof on the building, which created a bigger, added to the problem because it was always leaking.
Yeah.
Out of the 30 years I was there, with 3 different type roofs put on that building, and it didn't never stop the leaking. You know, we tried the original roof, then they put the foam roof and ran everybody out of the building for about a day because it made them sick and smell. We had to close down. Then the last was the rubber roof that they put on.
I just asked, why do we get an inferior product in the black community? That's what
They
I
call the cost cut. You know, they had to cut money, and that was the first thing they cut. Was
They didn't have to.
Which created the major problem, like I say, you know, always leaking. We had rooms that, I don't care how many times we put the seal on it and repaint it, in a few months, it was always peeling off, running out. You know, same thing. But we did with what we did with what we had.
Well, and then we go back to Josh's thought of this, talking about some of the people that's been here. I want to say this. I talked with Josh about this whole thing, and I mentioned Chuck's name. And Josh said, "Yeah, that was my folks when I was a little boy." Yeah, Charles Pickett, man. Let me tell you, we got like 5 or 6 NFL players, athletes, football players, Monterio Hardesty, Mike Hughes, Brian Simmons, that came through the program here at Stanley White. All y'all the Warriors?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. They're Warriors.
So they still in today.
Yeah. And Chuck was was a big influence in their life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And, I mean, I know Melo. I mean, DeAndre Palmer. You know, he didn't play basketball at New Bern High. He played here in the gym with me. And DeAndre messed around and went to a camp and got noticed. DeAndre has a history where he played twice against Alonzo Mourning, with 2-time junior college black All-American. You know, they came from right here at Stanley White. And I experienced a situation with Jared Stackhouse came in and played the team I had. Jerome Brown was the point guard. They beat us about 50 points. We couldn't even get the ball across the court. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Mr. Bernard just said about softball, man.
Not 54. He knew y'all did bad, did he?
One time that fence used to be further back.
Yeah.
And you couldn't hit, they were saying you couldn't hit a home run. Okay? I think you had Torrance on your podcast one time. Torrance was a young boy then. Baker, who was it? JD. Stay right there. JD came with a team with a pro football player that played with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Man, Torrance went out that day, they were hitting balls across that fence like crazy. Torrance would pull them all down. So, man, listen, you talking about your pastime on a softball night? Henderson Park was the place to be.
Yeah.
right there, Henderson Park was the place to be. I mean, everything in all. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
no fight, no. Just having a good time. But you know how we came up with the name the Warriors for the football team and the Braves when we started the other one, the Braves, because we wanted to honor JT Bomber. And going through there, we got a lot of their warm-ups. You remember them long warm-ups we had? We got them in them coats, and we used to have the coats and everything that said the Warriors.
So y'all named the team the Warriors and the Braves to honor JT Bomber.
Yeah.
What's the honor name for? What was
That was their name, JT Bomber High School.
The high school.
For the high school. They were the Warriors.
high school. They were
And
black.
their colors were maroon. Yeah, maroon and gray.
That's where I went. It was an all black high school.
All black high school.
Yeah.
I was a freshman.
JT Bomber Elementary School.
Yeah, it was a high school. It used to be the high school. Reggie was one of the first members that went over to the high school.
Well, when they integrated, I was a freshman. Yeah, Pickett class, but I was a freshman in '69. And going into '70, we integrated and we go over to the Grover C. Field. And we walked from Craven Terrace to JT Bomber twice a day. No bus. Twice a day, from rain, sleet, or shine. You know,
All right, y'all. Thank you for watching the Joshua Cuthbertson Show. Please continue to show your love and support by clicking the subscribe button below the video. Check us out next week on the next episode of the Josh Cuthbertson Show. We out.